Hey guys, Stay Patient here, back with this week's edition of the Trophy Hunters Update. Now, of course, this is a show where we take a look at all the recent releases and the upcoming releases and check out the trophy list, try and find some easy platinums and all that good stuff. So it's been quite a crazy few weeks with all the sales and everything, and that's still going on. We've got the 12 deals of Christmas, which I'm taking a look at each time, there's a new deal. I'm trying to find some better prices just to make sure you guys aren't overpaying for those deals. And of course, over the last few days, we've had the Video Game Awards, which saw some more footage of Death Stranding, of course, which is starring, the video that we saw starred Guillermo del Toro, the director, that, Hideo Kojima has sort of worked with in the past or tried to work with. And yeah, of course, it was PT, wasn't it? Guillermo del Toro was going to be working on PT. And it's also got Mads, what's he called? The actor, let's find him. Death Stranding, Mads Olsen or something? Mads Mikkelsen. That's it, Mads Mikkelsen. He's the guy from, I think it was Casino Royale, the bad guy from that James Bond movie. Now, he looks awesome. Like, the graphics on him look amazing, and he looks like a really cool bad guy, so that looks good. We're not here to really talk about trailers that we've seen over the last few days, but I thought, that was definitely worth mentioning, because if you guys haven't seen that trailer yet, I definitely recommend checking it out. There's a lot of, symbolism, as you'd expect from a Hideo Kojima game, and it looks like it's obviously got a decent financial backing. I haven't actually looked into who's publishing it and everything. I kind of got the idea when he left Konami that he was going to be doing some kind of indie stuff, but obviously he's such a big developer that someone's backing him, someone's going to publish the game or something. I'm not sure. You guys probably know. It's one of the things I haven't checked up on recently, but yeah, it looks awesome. And then I'm actually quite tired today because yesterday was the PlayStation Experience, PSX. They had their full show. It was like over an hour long, and I'd been waiting for it for days. So last night, actually, I'd kind of forgotten about it. When you wait for something for like an entire week, and then on the day it happens, it just slips out of your mind for some reason. So I didn't watch it live, but I went to bed and I checked the IGN app just to see what was on there, and it reminded me that they'd had the PSX show, and I ended up watching that. It was like 2:30 by the time I got to sleep, which is quite late for me with my health issues. So I apologise if I come across a bit tired today. But yeah, if you've not seen that, I definitely recommend checking it out. The show is really good. Usually you expect like E3 to be the show that has all the big reveals and all the gameplay trailers and stuff like that. But this year, the PSX show was actually awesome, and they had some really big reveals. I'm not going to spoil anything for you because it was literally just yesterday. And I know what it's like, I don't like to have things spoiled for me when I watch those big shows. I like to kind of go in blind so that I can be surprised live without knowing what's coming beforehand. But the one thing I found kind of funny, which I will mention, was the fact that all the games had a really big response. There was so much fan service and so many really cool reveals for games that people were excited about. And, the crowd that was there was really reactionary. They were, cheering and applauding everything. At one point, Shuhei Yoshida came out on stage and they were chanting his name for a while. You couldn't even start speaking. They were just loving it. There was a lot of response from the crowd. Even the one game I will point out, it's not really a spoiler because I don't think it's going to be one that you guys are going to be super excited about or anything. But even Knack 2, they spoke about Knack 2 and kind of announced that and showed gameplay, co-op gameplay and stuff. And although the first Knack game was, one of the worst really launch titles for the PS4, it wasn't, received very well, didn't get very good reviews at all, and not many people even, liked the game. There are some people who kind of enjoyed it, but it's not a game that people were desperate to hear about a sequel for. But even that received applause, applause and sort of cheering and stuff. But despite that, everything was receiving cheers. The one thing that cracked me up was that at one point a woman came out and she introduced a video talking about the Call of Duty World League, and they're obviously trying to like build up hype for Call of Duty again after a kind of disappointing release this year. And they had this video. It was kind of showing footage from previous World Leagues, like all the best teams in the world playing against each other, and it had like clips, and it was obviously trying to build up hype for it, and trying to make it look cool or whatever. And afterwards, she said she came out with an announcement that was meant to be, obviously, you could tell it was meant to be something that would evoke a response from the crowd, that would get them all like excited and get them cheering and whooping and all this kind of stuff. Because you can kind of tell when someone is expecting that kind of response, just the way they say it and the way it's worded, the way they kind of build it up. And then it's one of those sort of guess what moments, they have them at E3 all the time, and they always like evoke a cheer from the crowd or whatever. And in this case, she did that, and it was so obvious that she was expecting a big cheer because there was like a long pause written into the script. And she came out. The announcement was something along the lines of, I forget exactly, but she said that I think the first invitational round of the World League was going to be played live at PSX for everyone to watch, and they thought that was like a huge deal. And literally, despite everything else getting cheers, even Knack 2, she said it and she paused. And there was nothing, like literally nothing at all. Not a single clap. There wasn't even like a polite kind of awkward clap from someone at the back of the hall, It was just, you could hear like a pin drop. I was expecting to see like tumbleweeds blowing across the stage, it was that bad. Literally nothing, no response whatsoever. Everyone just kind of sat there. It was almost as if they'd planned, as if they'd all got together beforehand, the whole audience, and sort of had a meeting and said, right, here's what we're going to do. If they show anything Call of Duty related, if they announce anything COD related, we're just going to, like, everyone don't say anything. Don't clap, don't cheer, don't cough even, like, just leave a deadly silence. And man, it was just hilarious because obviously COD's like gone downhill ever since Vince Zampella left, and they're making Titanfall now, which is actually really good. And it just kind of shows up the fact that finally people are catching up with the fact that COD sucks, I know there are those of you out there that enjoy it, but the only reason you enjoy it is because it was good at one point, and that kind of motivated lots of people to play it, and it's still active. It's a very active game nowadays. But, I'm glad to see that the public are sort of catching up with the expectations from games, or like at least the kind of public that go to those shows. It was quite cool to see because they really need a boot up their ass to, get them actually working on something new or original rather than just spewing out the same trash every year. Anyway, the other thing I want to mention is that I don't yet know if the webcam footage is going to be on the video. I've been talking with... my hair's all over the place. I've been talking with Elgato in email and on the phone, which costs a huge amount of money to ring them because they're in America. But I've been trying to sort out the problems with the webcam footage, and they've given me some sort of... They've given me some suggestions of things to try, like settings to change and things like that. And they've given me some downloads for beta versions of the software and all that. So it might be that it's working okay today. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I really hope it is. But, if the webcam isn't on the video, I do apologize. There's not a lot I can do because it's really not behaving itself. But hopefully we found the fault and I can kind of fine tune things. And hopefully you can see me for this video. Fingers crossed. Anyway, we're going to dive in. I've been rambling on about the last few days. Plenty. You'll notice that the camera's sort of off-center today. It's because I'm using a TV, and usually I have the camera in the middle, so it kind of blocks my view a bit. So hopefully you guys can sort of adjust to that. But yeah, we're here. We've got quite a few games that I want to go back and cover. There's... Oh, are you kidding me? Oh my life. What the... Okay guys, so this is literally the first time this has ever happened on this show. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday researching games. I've spent all day today basically researching all the games that were added, and I've just started recording, and there are new games added since I did my research. So, oh, pardon me, we're going in blind for some of these. I hope you don't mind. But the first thing that kind of brought that to my attention and made it obvious is the fact that we've got the world of Nublar here. Now, obviously, Nublar is a very easy platinum that was only available in Europe and not even the whole of Europe. And you guys in America have been waiting for it to release. Now, that's not this, because if we go to, Nubla here, so this is the European one. You can see how easy it is. 97.53 average completion. 96%, over 96% have earned the platinum. Now, most of you know all about this game because it's notoriously easy. And it's one that, you US guys, you American residents have been waiting for ages. And we spoke about Nublar, the second trophy set appearing, which is obviously the American version. At least, like, the fair assumption is that it's the American version. That appeared several weeks ago, and we're still waiting for a release. And we've had a few people on the channel leave comments saying it's coming out on this day or that day, and I'm not really even sure because I think we've had several different days suggested. Nublar US release. Let's see if there is any kind of final... Yes. Oh, what's this? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know enough. Oh, hang on. Oh, wait, 15th of the 11th. Is that right? Have I missed it? Okay, let's have a look. This is the American store. Don't tell me I've missed... No, okay, it's not out. I just read there something about it getting... Oh, no, they've changed it. 2 days. Oh, guys. Okay, awesome. This is the first big announcement. I've just noticed how dark it is, and I don't want to turn the light on because the mirror reflects it. So hopefully my webcam is able to compensate for the lighting. Suddenly gone so dark. It was like sunny about half an hour ago. That's crazy. Anyway, so here we are. Nublar tweeted... Nublar will be available for North America on December the 6th. It's December the 4th today. 2 days, Tuesday. On Tuesday, guys, you can download Nublar. That's very exciting, and I know that's news that you guys have been waiting for. In fact, I think that's news that a lot of you... I mean, it was only posted like a week ago, just over a week ago, and I know that some of you guys have actually suggested December 6th on the videos as a... release date, so hopefully they do stick to that because they had already announced it was coming out on an earlier day, I think the 15th of November or something. So that's awesome. We can clarify if they do stick to that we've definitely got a release date for Nublar in 2 days. But this is very exciting and quite confusing because although this is a different title, we've got exactly the same thumbnail. And if we have a look at the trophies, in fact, what we'll do here is if we open this in a new window, and I'm going to compare the trophies here because I'm guessing it's just a foreign yeah, it looks to be exactly the same. So this is obviously just another regional stacking list, but that's awesome because that means those of us who own an account from whatever region it ends up happening to be from we'll be able to earn the trophies a third time as well. So that's very cool indeed. We've got 3 Nublar trophy sets. I'm not sure why the name's different. I'm guessing it's from a country where they name games differently. Or maybe it's like a direct translation of a foreign version of the name or something. But that's awesome. That's very cool. But we're going to go back down. I've got a few games here that I was going to mention from previous weeks. This might be stuff we've already covered, and I apologise if it is. I do sometimes lose track of what we've talked about and what we haven't. But obviously, Deponia and Silence are both Daedalus games that were on PC for a while, and we've spoken about them before. They are both easy point-and-click adventures. Deponia... I wanted to point out, I think I've pointed this out before, that it does, like PlayZocker here has uploaded his playthrough, which, I mean, a lot of people upload their playthroughs for point-and-click adventures and call them guides technically you can use them as guides because you can copy what they do, but they're not technically guides. I don't think he's commentated it or edited it down so that like it cuts out all the unimportant bits or anything like that. But you've got the option to follow that if you want to. But I think it was Blaze Naruto Shippuden, or maybe it's Mind is a City. He's said that he's putting together a text guide, so keep your eye out for that on PlayStationTrophies.org. That would be very useful. He does that quite often. Both these guys actually, Mind is a City and Blaze, they do a lot of guides for the easier trophy sets and some of the harder ones, but that would be cool that we've got a text guide coming for Deponia. It looks like the kind of trophy set that's going to be easy enough to do blind anyway, because it doesn't look to have a huge amount of missable stuff. It's quite a short trophy list. In fact, if we bring it up here, Deponia... we've only got 19 trophies, and they're all kind of random. They probably are missable, but there doesn't seem to be anything that... I haven't looked through really thoroughly, but there doesn't seem to be much that involves like a full playthrough. Whereas Silence, the other Daedalus game, which looks kind of similar, does have trophies that require you to play the game in a certain way all the way through. For instance, you have to die in every way possible. In fact, we'll bring up that trophy list. Oh, pardon me, my stomach's rumbling. We'll also bring up Silence on here because although Deponia has Mind as a City is making a text guide, so it's on its way, Silence has... This one takes a bit longer. This isn't quite as easy or short, but this already has a full platinum walkthrough, a text walkthrough. So this is Noid. He's another very active member of the forum. His guides are always very good. And he's got a very thorough guide here, which is pretty cool. Step-by-step look, telling you exactly what to do all the way through the game. So if you want to pick up Silent... this is Silent. So on this trophy set, you need to die in every way possible, which is covered by the guide. You also need to play through without dying at all. And the trophy that I actually really love, which is going to make it take longer, is a trophy for not skipping any dialogue or cutscenes or anything like that. Now that's cool because with these point and click adventures, quite often we might go in and think, you know, the story looks cool, I'm going to actually pay attention to the story and listen to it and like, you know, follow it. But because you're following a step-by-step guide, you don't feel as invested in it. So sometimes you just end up skipping everything anyway because it speeds up the trophies, but then you don't enjoy the game as much. So the fact that this one requires you to not skip anything is really cool because it means that we're still earning the platinum in the shortest time possible, but we're also getting to enjoy the game at the same time. We're getting to experience the dialogue and everything, experience the story, the narrative as it plays out. So I like that, even though it is going to make it a longer trophy set. I quite like that. The only downside about both these games is that they're very expensive at the moment. Deponia is the cheaper of the two, which is, I think it's $15.99, so £16. That's UK currency, £16 and $20. That's still quite expensive. But then Silence is £25 in the UK and $30 in the US. So it's actually like, I think both of them are quite overpriced, especially Silence. So I'm going to wait for a deal on both of them, wait until there's some kind of special offer on them, or they're part of, it would have been nice if they were in the digital flash sale, but obviously they're a bit too new for that. But yeah, they both look actually really good. A lot of the point and click adventures over the last couple of years have been remasters of older games. So it's been a while since we've had like a proper modern, although these games have been out on PC for a little bit, it's been a while since we've had a proper modern, up-to-date, point and click adventure, because we're so used to seeing a certain level of graphics on these games because we've got so many remasters that I'd kind of forgotten the fact that technically these could look a lot better. If there was a new one released, they could look a lot better. So games like both of these, and also another one that's on its way, The Little Acre. I've pre-ordered this. It's not quite as expensive as the other two, I don't think. The Little Acre looks awesome, like the animation and the art style and everything. The same as with Deponia. All of them look really cool. So it's great to see some like up-to-date, proper like next-gen point-and-click adventure games, because there's not a lot of power being used on the game's systems, because it's quite simple, you know. There's not a lot of movement, there's not a lot of having to load the scenery, because generally it's fairly closed-in screens. So they should have a lot of power left to be able to make the graphics and animation look amazing. So yeah, both a little bit overpriced, that's Deponia and Silence, but both easy trophies, and they both will have guides up very soon. Silence already has one, and Deponia has one on its way. So if we dive back in, there was a couple more of the older games I wanted to mention. Oh, Icy. We won't look at it now, but Icy is the game that's only available in China. We watched a trailer for it a couple of weeks ago, I think, and I've bought a copy. There is a sort of guide on PlayStationTrophies.org. In fact, the person that I originally sent a message to before doing the recording a couple of weeks back, he's the guy that ended up making the guide. So I said to him, you know, I see that you've played, because he was one of the only Western people to have played it. I said, I see you've played Icy and platted it. You know, how is it? Is it long? Is it how easy is it? And all this. And he said it's very straightforward, but he mentioned that he'd made a guide and he asked for my opinion on it. I've not played the game yet, but thanks to him, I forget his name. In fact, let's give him a shout out, because that's only fair, isn't it? So once again, PlayStationTrophies.org. Oh, this is the site I use all the time. I know most of you use this as well. If you don't, then you want to get in the habit of doing so, because it's very handy. Icy Forum, Icy Platinum Walkthrough. So there's not a lot of activity here, because it is only in China. It's only available on the Chinese or like Hong Kong store, I think it's called. But yeah, it was Yoka-san, so thank you to him. What else was there? Clockwork's Tales of Glass and Ink. That was one of the games from last week. In fact, it's probably still on the list here. This is another one that, yeah, here we go. You'll see a massive high completion rating already, 55%. This is a super easy, quick trophy set. I did sort of predict this last week, but we didn't know for 100%. It looked very easy, because it's like a hidden item game. There's kind of a story to it from what I can tell, but it's a bit like the Pirates one. I forget the name of it. The game, it showed up in one of my top 10s. I forget the name, but it's yeah, it's from the same developer. You have screens where you need to find certain items and you need to solve puzzles and stuff. And I think there was a guide for it, or at least no, actually, this is the one that I think Blaze Naruto Shippuden had mentioned he was going to do a text guide for, because once again we've got a video guide from Russ 1994-10. Now he does a lot of kind of guides. He basically just records his playthrough of the game, like we mentioned before, and then just leaves the whole lot in and kind of uploads it, and people can copy it and watch it. Pardon me. Yes, okay, so Blaze, are you still writing a text walkthrough? Yes, expect it next week. It's on hold while he's working on the Lara Croft Go trophy guide. So that's another game we're going to be discussing today. So it's quite a busy time of year. Obviously, we've had a lot of easy platinums released this year, and we've had a lot very recently. There's lots of guides being made, but obviously the people who are making guides, I've made some myself this year. But those people, like, because it's so busy around Christmas time with AAA titles and everything, then some of those guys are making guides for those games, and it kind of gets piled up, and sometimes it takes a bit longer, which is fine. Obviously, if any of you guys out there have played any of these games and platted them, then feel free to make a guide yourself. So often people come on the site and they say, where's the guide? Is anyone making a guide? And they forget the fact that it's not something people get paid for, you know, it's not a job, it's something that the users of the site do, so anyone's free to make one if they know a game. So yeah, if any of you out there feel like trying your hand at guide writing, I'm sure all of us who already make guides, I've only done a couple, I can't really count myself among the people who make guides, but you know, we'd all appreciate having more people turning their hand to it, so it kind of lightens the load and get some guides up for games that might not otherwise have guides. Anyway, guys, so we're going to have to speed up a bit, because There was a lot of stuff I planned on talking about, and that was before I realised we had a bunch more games that I didn't even realise were there. So, what else was it? I just want to double check here. Oh, yeah, that was it. Bridge Constructor is out, I think, next Tuesday. This is a game that, once again, this was kind of announced, or not announced, it was up on PSN profiles ages ago. And I was thinking it would come out that week or the next week or whatever, and it's been so long that I'd almost forgotten about it, although I do check fairly regularly. But it's coming out on December the 13th. Now, we mentioned when we did speak about it that this game was already out on Xbox, and there was a guide up on the Xbox site, xboxachievements.com, which you can follow for this. There is a kind of wiki type guide with pictures of the solutions for every single level. The trophy set is super easy by the looks of it. It's literally just complete all the levels with like the top score or whatever. So if you just follow the guide, some people did say that the odd level here and there weren't quite the same as what the guide had up, but you'll be able to find answers to those by looking around, and they may have even been adjusted since then. But in a roundabout way, you're going to be able to earn it. It's like a 2 out of 10, I think. It takes about 5 hours. So that's Bridge Constructor, which is out 13th. So that is next Tuesday, not this coming Tuesday, but next Tuesday. So Nubla this week on the 6th, and then the week after we got Bridge Constructor. So 2 nice easy plats being released, along with all the ones that have just recently been released already as well. So many games, man, it's crazy. The other thing that we didn't speak about last week, let me just check I've kind of gone back over everything. Yeah. The one thing that we noticed last week was the fact that Final Fantasy 15 has 2 trophy sets. And I was really surprised at that, because you don't often get big AAA titles with regional stacking trophies. Usually it's just like one worldwide trophy set. So I was surprised at that, and I thought that's pretty cool, especially for a Final Fantasy game. I don't think there's ever been a Final Fantasy with stacking lists, unless it's on like multiple platforms. But even then, like Final Fantasy X, for instance, that trophy set is shared across Vita, PS3, and PS4. It's just all one trophy set. But as like almost immediately after finishing doing the video, in fact, there must be like a regular time where they add trophies to yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a certain time they add trophies to PSN profiles, because the ones that have just been added now, that might be the equivalent of the ones that were added last week. Because it felt like as soon as I stopped recording, I happened to look back on, and you'll notice, and most of you will know this, we've got 3 more trophy sets for Final Fantasy 15. So there's 5 in total, 5 stacking trophy sets for Final Fantasy 15, which is great for anyone who loves it. I have been playing it a bit. I only had time for about 8 or 10 hours because I've had lots of other stuff to do this week. I'm actually playing, Final Fantasy Type 0 at the moment for one of my trophy customers. It's funny because he asked me to do it because he wanted to play Final Fantasy 15. He said, I've started Final Fantasy Type 0, but I wasn't enjoying it that much, and I really want to play 15. So he's paid me to do Type 0 for him. And so now I'm in the boat that he was in, where I want to be playing 15, but I'm playing Type 0. But it's not a bad game, Type 0, but obviously I haven't had much chance to play 15 yet. But what I've played has been good, and from what I can tell, it's not that long a trophy set. For a Final Fantasy game, it's pretty quick. It's a lot quicker than World of Final Fantasy, which is supposedly like the dumbed down, simple Final Fantasy this year, even though to me it looks like it's probably more complex than 15, which is kind of aimed at new players. So that's really cool. You'll be able to stack up those trophies. I think... let's have a look here. What was it? Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, I think they've figured out what regions these are all from. So, yeah, they've got 5 here. One is Europe, one's North America. This is a bit odd, this, because we've got Japanese one, but then we've got Chinese and Taiwan/Hong Kong. Now, I was under the impression that China and Hong Kong were the same region, but now thinking back, maybe I'm wrong about that. Well, obviously I am wrong about that. Because I've got an account. I think it's a Hong Kong account. I think of it as a Chinese account, and it's where I bought Icy, and it's where I bought the Hong Kong or Asian stacking version of Sound Shapes. But now I'm kind of wondering which one it is. I honestly don't know which region it is I've got an account from. I've got Japan and everything, and that's all separate, but I don't know whether my Chinese account is Hong Kong or China. Anyway, that's the 5 stacking lists. Let's move on. Red Faction. We spoke about... this was one of the things I mentioned last week, that I'd heard an announcement that Red Faction was coming out on PS4, the original from PS2. It's already available on PS3 as a kind of PS2 classic, but this is a proper... I mean, it's not... I don't think it's a remaster. I think it's just a re-release, but it's coming out on PS4. I think Red Faction 2 as well. I say it's coming out. It's already out, the first one. A bit like what they did with Kill All Humans. Is it Kill All... No, Destroy All Humans, sorry. Yeah, so Red Faction's already out. I think it's only out in Europe at the moment. I'm not sure if it's getting a release in the US. This is the US store here. Red Faction... I'm pretty sure I've got that the right way around. There's a lot to remember this week. I've done a lot of research. I'm trying to kind of recall all the information that I've picked up. Yeah, there's no Red Faction... you see, you got the PS2 Classic here, but it's only playable on PS3. That's $9.99. If you go to the the UK store, you'll notice here $11.99. So £11.99 if you've got a UK account. Red Faction. And the difference here between it, obviously, this is Red Faction from the PS2. It's the same game. These two are exactly the same game. This one might be... I don't think it's been like remastered, but I think maybe it's just been improved a little bit. Maybe they've upped the resolution. But they are basically fundamentally the same game. But this one doesn't have trophies. I'm pretty sure that's right. Because all the PS2 classics were just literally ported across. And in fact, some of them were quite bad ports to the point where they looked worse on PS3 than they did. I think like some of the PS1 games, especially like Siphon Filter and Metal Gear Solid and stuff, I think some of them looked considerably worse because like the higher resolution TV shows up the pixels even more. So back when graphics were really pixelated, it just like exaggerates those faults, exaggerates that low pixel resolution or that low fidelity. You know, when you're looking at it on a TV that's got a high pixel count. What was I gonna... Oh yeah, I was gonna double check. I'm like 99% sure that the PS2 Classic, yeah. There's trophies here for that's the recent release. There's no trophies for the PS3 version, the like PS2 Classic on PS3. But yeah, let's take a look at it because there's actually a trophy guide. The only guy that's completed it, I think, is Dark Raven. And he's another one of the active, like, regular members and guide writers on PlayStationTrophies.org. If you look here, yeah, Dark Raven 666. Obviously, some people know the game better than others. I played it a lot back in the day, but I don't remember a huge amount. I remember how it plays roughly, and I do remember certain levels and stuff. But he's been kind enough to put together a guide, which is pretty cool. It does sound as if there might be... It's not been stickied yet, obviously. It needs to be tested out. That takes a while. But it looks as though there might be some glitchy trophies because some people are having trouble. There's one trophy for completing it without killing any, like, friendly, any civilians or whatever. So a lot of people... I think Terminator, actually, he's the guide team leader. He was mentioning that he's done that trophy several times and it's not popped. So there's obviously some intricacies to it. And let's see. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, there's four playthroughs required for this because you need to complete it on each difficulty and they don't stack. So it's going to take a bit of time, but it's not a massively long game. Terminator here, he's starting to think the Righteous Cause is glitched because he's done it a bunch of times. I haven't actually read through this, and I'm not going to read it now because it's quite long. Yeah, it could be glitched. I think we're going to need to wait for more information on this, but obviously he has given it a 7 out of 10 difficulty, so it's not going to be like a Trophy Hunters game But for those of you who have nostalgic memories of Red Faction, I'm sure you guys will be excited to pick it up. It brings back memories for me, mostly the multiplayer, like the couch multiplayer I used to play with my brother. He'll be quite interested, actually. He's not a gamer by any means. He doesn't game at all, apart from occasionally FIFA with his mate. But I'll let him know that that's come out on PS4, just because he might be quite interested or curious about that. Okay, so moving on to the newer stuff. We've got quite a few games to cover here. The first one, actually, is Dwarves. Now, this one is difficult to know. I did message someone, actually, because there's one person that's platted it, and I've not heard back from GD Text. In fact, I'm going to just double check that I have. No, I haven't. So GD Tex has platted it. He took 3 days, 6 hours. There's not a lot of people playing it really. But it looks kind of cool. In fact, we're going to check out a trailer for this. So like I said, this is Dwarves. Of course, as always, I keep the sound off because, just in case there's any matchups for copyright and things like that. I mean, they can match up the visuals as well, but usually it's the sound that causes a problem. But yeah, it looks kind of cool. It's kind of like a Diablo type game, like top down, but it's more hack and slash. It's got a bit of Warhammer Space Marine feel to it, because it's orcs. Basically, you're fighting against orcs, which is what you fight in Space Marine, like hundreds and hundreds of them. And it looks, I don't know, it just looks fun. It's like just, I guess, a hack and slash. You've got this mechanic here, pause and play battles. So because there's so many people around, you can pause and kind of make tactical decisions. Like it said there, you've got physics-based crowd control. So because you've got such a large number of enemies on screen at times, it's good to know the physics are realistic. So you're like smashing your way through big groups of enemies. And it just looks fun, man. We'll take a look at the trophies once the trailer's done. I'm not sure, I'm not saying necessarily that this is going to be easy, but it doesn't look too bad. There's nothing in the trophy set that made me think, oh, wow, okay, that's going to be really tough. It could take a while. I think there's some longer-winded trophies there. But yeah, Dwarves out on PS4, Xbox One and everything. I forget who developed this, and we're not going to get into all that because we could be here all day if we look at every detail about every game. But I did look earlier. I've forgotten now. I think it might have been a small team. It looks fairly indie. Now, before we take a look at these, actually, I'm going to turn the light on, so give me 2 seconds. Okay, guys, hopefully that's better. I've adjusted the angle of the camera as well, so fingers crossed if the camera is actually on the video. I've adjusted just to stop the mirror reflecting too much of the light, because I know it blinds people sometimes. I need to sort of sort out some proper lighting here. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at these trophies in the order of rarity to look, because this is a good sort of strategy, I suppose, because it can let you know what the hardest trophies in the game are, or at least the rarest ones, so the ones that might either take the longest or are the most difficult. And so we've got here Silver Tongue. You've answered all 3 questions after your speech correctly. That's obviously easy as long as you know what the answers to the questions are. You vanquished the biggest enemy camp. That really depends on how difficult the game is to play, or how difficult the biggest camp is to vanquish. You've killed Geralda. That kind of strikes me. It says maybe averted great disaster. That kind of strikes me as possibly the final mission in the game, but that's just a guess on my part. You spent 200 days on your great journey, so it could be a long-winded platinum. Saved a village from an orc army. There's lots of stuff. It's kind of very difficult to... There's kind of story spoilers here. I've just noticed. Quite big story spoilers. But yeah, it does strike me as a fun game. Now, I don't know if it's going to be difficult, easy, short, long, or what, but it does look like a laugh, and I think it's already out. I can't remember the price of it. I don't know if I checked this actually. Let's have a look. Dwarf. Oh, it's quite expensive. Okay, so it's like maybe it's a proper kind of release from one of the bigger company. Let's have a look. Does that have it here? Where does it say the developer on the store? Oh, crumbs. I don't remember. I am going to check because it looks like an interesting game, and depending on who it's by, we might be able to tell whether it's going to be good or not. Honestly, I'm terrible at typing as soon as I start recording. Okay, the Dwarves. It's been reviewed. I'm guessing it's been out on PC for a while, maybe. Yeah. So publisher Euro Video. Oh, that was it. Now I remember now. Yeah, this was kind of an odd one because it's developed by King Art Games and THQ Nordic, and I thought to myself, I was thinking, didn't THQ go bankrupt and just like fall apart and disappear? And if you read up about THQ Nordic, they used to be Nordic Games, I think it was. Where is it? Let's just have a quick look, because this is quite interesting. I know it's off subject, it's not really trophy related, but Nordic Games here, you might remember Nordic Games, and I'm trying to remember what games they made. It's quite a few, but they're not. They did Destroy All Humans, Stuntman, that was one of the bigger titles. Oh, Red Faction, acquired from. Oh no, that's the THQ games that they bought the rights to. Okay, so this might be quite interesting for you guys to research a bit further, because I think they've... Oh no, here you go, look, Alan Wake, that was a big Xbox title. Darksiders, was that them? The War Mastered Edition. Release history. Yeah, there's some big games here, so you'll know... Like, I knew the name Nordic, and I was just trying to remember who they were and what they'd released. But back, I think in 2014 they bought THQ, or like some of the, the portfolio. It's called Portfolio, comprises products and brands which were acquired from Joe Wood Entertainment and Dreamcatcher Interactive, and then from THQ in 2014. So THQ went bust, didn't they? And it seems like Nordic Games bought their portfolio, and that's interesting because it means that they might be able to carry on some of the THQ series because they might now have the rights to them, and they've only just this year changed their name. So it might be something that the reason for them changing their name 2 years after acquiring THQ, or at least their portfolio, that might be a sign that they're kind of going to revitalize some of the THQ franchises, because there was a lot of THQ games back then. They were kind of the mid-tier developer that weren't quite AAA, but they definitely weren't indie. They were quite a big developer. I think they were behind like Saints Row and things like that. It was loads of games if you look through their release history. Anyway, that might be cool, because that might be a sign that they're going to go back and like do some sequels for some of those awesome THQ franchises. But anyway, the trophies, to be honest, like, there's not a lot to go on trophy wise, but as you could see from the trailer, it looked okay. It looked like quite a fun game, so I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it. But it's also very expensive, £35, so it's kind of a not quite AAA game, but it's literally like that tier that THQ used to be, so it kind of makes sense that it's by a company that's now named themselves after THQ. Anyway, back to the list, because we've got a lot to get through, and I've started losing track of how long we've taken so far, but it usually, where are we? It usually ends up being around about an hour, coincidentally. Pardon me, guys. So where did we get to? The Dwarves, yeah, crumbs, loads to cover. Okay, we're going to skip some of these like non-platinum games. Lara Croft Go, I was going to show a trailer of this, but for the sake of time, you guys remember Hitman Go. This one actually looks quite cool. There's a bit more to it than Hitman. Oh, pardon me. On Hitman, you just move from space to space. And if you're not familiar with these Go games, they're basically like mobile games that have started making their way across to Vita and PS4. And basically, like, you have spaces. It's almost like a board game where you move your character. In the case of Hitman, it's Agent 47. And, you move him around. As you move, everyone else moves along their kind of patrol routes as well. So you have to kind of work out where you need to move and keep moving back and forward until enemies are in the right place for you to be able to like land on the same place as them, to kind of take them out, or maybe find a weapon and shoot them or whatever. It's quite interesting. But the trophies for Hitman Go were very easy because it's one of those games where you can just literally follow a step-by-step guide and just blitz your way through the trophies in about 6 hours. So it was a super quick, easy platinum that made its way onto one of my top 10s, if I remember correctly. Lara Croft Go, like I mentioned, rather than just moving around, it looks like some of your moves can be sort of jumping off edges and holding on or whatever. So it might be fun to play legit. I don't know. I've never played one of them legit. They're the kind of games that they would be super easy platinums even if you played it legit without a guide, but it would take you a lot longer because there's no difficulty. Like if you fail a level, it's because you don't know the right moves, and you keep redoing it until you've figured out the right moves to take, and then you just do those moves and it's done. So it would be hard in the sense that it would take a while to figure out, but that's not really difficulty, that's time. But if you're following a guide, obviously you can get it done super quick. And I'm guessing, well, we already read, I forget who it was, I think it was Mind is a City. He mentioned he's making a guide or walkthrough for this now, so that's going to be really cool because obviously there's guides up for the phone versions and stuff, so they can be sort of repurposed for the PS4, or the like PS4 and Vita list. It's all shared, you know. When they've got both consoles there together, that means that the trophy list is shared. Now we do have another. Sorry, I keep brushing my hair aside. It's super annoying getting right in my face. I need it cut. We have Winkings here. Winkings, yeah. Now, actually, the first thing we're going to do before we click on it, let's just close some of these down. Yeah, the first thing that caught my eye was the fact that the thumbnail for it is a trophy. Now, obviously, that trophy is related to the game, but I reckon they've chosen that because they are trying to aim this game at trophy hunters, a bit like with My Name is Mayo, and I guess Nublar and stuff like that, where they just make a game that's super easy trophies, like Orc Slayer, and they're kind of trying to catch people's eye with a picture of a trophy on the game image. And you'll see here that a lot of people, well, there's only 2 people playing it, and one of them is already at the platinum. Now, that guy is someone that kindly messaged me back. I sent him a message earlier, and let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, he's basically said he's Italian, so, but he does speak some English. He says that you need to play it with 3 or 4 controllers. Now, that might be similar to Rockets, where you can reassign controllers. So you could do that, but I think it would probably be quicker and easier if you do have at least 3 controllers for this one. Because if we take a look through the trophy set, okay. Yeah, so we've got play each of the game modes, and then we've obviously they're just like nothing to them whatsoever. Then we've got get a total of 1,000 kills in versus. Now, I'm guessing that could take a while. It's gold. Even the one for getting 500 kills in versus is gold. In fact, I do have a trailer for this. Let's check it out quickly. I almost forgot about this. I knew I've got a few trailers downloaded for today. Now, this is the game. It's quite a long trailer, I think. I believe it's 2 minutes long. But this is the game, basically. It's a multiplayer. You can play against AI. I think there's a campaign even. But it seems pretty simple. It's just basically jump and shoot, and you pick up different weapons. Now, we'll read more about that when we look through the trophy set. It looks kind of fun. I don't think it looks like a particularly good game. But, there are those kinds of games that are fun just because they are co-op. Or, they're couch co-op, couch multiplayer. Not necessarily... Pardon me, guys. Not necessarily co-op, but they are competitive, couch competitive. There might be co-op playing this, but you know what I mean? Like, things are more fun when you do them with friends. Even if the game itself isn't any good, you can just have a laugh because you're playing with your mates. So this looks like one of those kinds of games that probably isn't massively impressive, probably isn't a huge amount of fun to play. Maybe the campaign mode will be a bit tedious. But it might be a laugh to play with your mates, and you can play obviously up to 4 players here. And there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of skill involved or any depth to it, but it's pretty much just jumping around, shooting. I'm guessing this is like some kind of co-op section, or possibly the campaign. Maybe you can play it with 2 players. Yeah, I don't know. It looks okay. It looks like it might be. Oh, so yeah, here you've got the screen. You can go out one side of the screen and back in the other, or you can go out the bottom of the screen and come out the top. And you've got, as you can see, all these weapons dotted around, and take note of them because they are going to be relevant when we start looking at the actual trophy set. So, if we keep looking through, we've got 1,000 kills. Now, I wanted to check out the trailer with you guys because it gives me the impression that it might take a while to farm those 1,000 kills, because if there's only 4 of you, and it seems to take a while to respawn. I wasn't sure what was going on with those ghosts, You kill someone, they turn into a ghost, and I'm not sure whether you need to like collect them and stop them respawning or what. I don't know what the mechanic around that is. But it doesn't look like it's something where you're getting kill after kill after kill. Because obviously if someone's floating around as a ghost, you have to wait for them to reappear or whatever. It could take a while, that. So it might be... I mean, it's not going to be massively long, because you could farm it in 4-player split screen, obviously. And this guy who platted it did it in just over 2 days. But then you've got all these here. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. We actually have to get more than 1,000 kills, because these are the 4 characters. So you've got Olaf, Alessa, Einar, and Gunn. So you need to kill 500 in verses with each of these. So that's 2,000 kills in total, so long as you plan it correctly and don't sort of get too many kills with one of them. Then you have to complete the campaign on Viking difficulty. There's 4 difficulties there. So, pardon me. It looks as though this doesn't stack. Although, no, hang on. This is saying 0%, but someone's got the plat, haven't they? All right, I think maybe it's just not keeping up with things. I was kind of thinking that this would imply that the difficulty trophies don't stack for the campaign, because, of course, if they did, then the person who has completed Viking difficulty would have also got the hard difficulty trophy. So I'm not sure what's going on there with the 0%. Hopefully you can complete it on Viking. We do know that someone's got the plat, so that is at 50%. It's just not, it's not sort of up to date yet. But yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. The funny thing about this, though, is the spelling and stuff. You might have noticed this, like, I don't know who's made this. It's some small team. I did look earlier. I didn't recognize the name of them, I don't think. But you'll notice here, this is hilarious. Oh, look at this. Look, play deathmatch. The T's missing from deathmatch. First spelling mistake. The actual trophy itself, despite all the other trophies having capital... Well, some of them have got capitals. Capture is capital C, but flag isn't capital F. They've got deathmatch has got capital D and M here, because it's a team one, but then under this one, there's no capital whatsoever. And there's a spelling mistake. And these guys obviously aren't a competent team. The other thing was, there's another big spelling mistake. I haven't actually looked through all of them. Oh yeah, down here, look. Not just a spelling mistake. Melee, like even the language, it's like they've written out the name of the trophies in their language and then used Google Translate to translate it to English. Melee kill 300 Vikings in... Sorry, no, what was the one I was looking at? Oh yeah, no, it's the description, look. In verses, Geet total of 300 kills of melee weapon. Like, firstly, even if that was spelt correctly, it wouldn't make any sense. The sentence itself is nonsensical. I don't know. I just find stuff like this hilarious. It's like, that's what kind of leads me to believe they're just making a game for trophy hunters like Orcslayer and My Name is Mayo. They're just literally, they don't even care. They're just throwing the game out. It's like, let's give people some trophies. And and everything's spelt wrong. The sentences don't make any sense. Oh, wow. You know what we said earlier about getting 500 kills with each character in versus? Here's a trophy for getting 10,000 kills in versus. So, man, that's a lot. But then we've got the campaign trophy. So we've got to get 500 kills with each weapon in campaign. That'll be quicker, obviously, because I'm guessing in the campaign there's lots of enemies. But that 10,000 kills trophy, man, it's obviously quicker than it sounds, but wow, okay. I think this is going to be an easy and not too long platinum, but we'll see. We'll see. The guy that I messaged did say it's nice and easy. He said I should test it out, which I will do at some point. So that's Winkings. We've got Mother Russia. Let's check out a trailer for that quickly. This is called Mother Russia Bleeds, actually. This looks super violent, super, like, gross. I don't know if it's 8-bit or 16-bit. I always get sort of confused between the two. Unless I see them next to each other, I can't sort of immediately tell. I think it looks like more of a 16-bit game, but I might be wrong. But yeah, this is kind of, it's weird because it's sort of old school animation and graphics, but almost like new school depth, because there seems to be a lot more to it than there was on similar games, similar sort of side-scrolling brawlers and shooters in the past. Kind of reminds me of a side-scrolling Hotline Miami, you know? But it's proper savage. I don't think this is going to be an easy trophy set. I think I took a look at it earlier, and it sounds like it's not necessarily going to be one of the easy ones. But yeah, another game that's coming out. In fact, a lot of these games, like Lara Croft Go and Mother Russia Bleeds, a lot of them, and also Surgeon Simulator Experience Reality, that's a VR version of Surgeon Simulator, and 3-on-3 Freestyle, they're all games that they spoke about at PSX, and they said, these games are available now, kind of thing. So 3-on-3, we won't look at the trophies for Mother Russia. It's one of those games you can't really tell until it's got some feedback. But 3-on-3 Freestyle, I think, did I have a trailer of this as well? Yeah, it's a short one. Yeah, this was just like what they showed at PSX, if I remember correctly. It kind of reminds me of NBA Street, and we will take a quick look at the trophies. I think this one looks like it may be a straightforward one. So yeah, nice short one. You can tell like the flavour of the game, what they're going for. So we've got to get MVP 200 times. It's probably quite easy. Win 300 matches. Level up. 10 winning streak. I'm not sure if these can be sort of farmed against an opponent. Maybe you can have 2-player split screen, or, well, couch play. Wouldn't need to be split screen, would it, on a sports game? But yeah, that depends on really if you can farm it. Maybe, I mean, it's probably going to be easy even if you have to play against the AI, unless there's difficulty related trophies. Win 100 matches, win 50 in 1-on-1, 7 winning streak. Pardon me. Reach grade 5 with any character. MVP again, 50 times. A lot of these are stacking ones that kind of MVP 50 times and then MVP 200 times, Score 3,000 points in any game mode, 150 matches, 1,000 assists, 5. It's all like farming stuff, or not farming, but it's all just long-winded stuff, isn't it? Apart from some of these down here, they look like, most of them are pretty easy. Yeah, MVP for the first time. Get a winning buzzer beater. Oh, I guess that's, where you're losing and then at the last second as the buzzer goes, you score. So that's going to be easy again. You can probably farm that with 2 controllers. Play a match after forming with 2 users. So that I guess that's just team up with people online or whatever. Unlock 6 characters. Yeah, this looks... I'm not going to read through the rest because, to be honest, losing matches, scoring points, winning games, playing games, getting MVPs. This looks super easy. I'm going to sort of put my neck out and put my... What was it? Put my neck on the line? I don't know what expression I'm trying to find there. I'm tired. Stick my neck out. That's the one. I'm going to stick my neck out and make the assumption that that's going to be a super easy trophy set. So keep your eye on that, guys. We'll jump back on that one next week. Hopefully people have played it by then. I might actually buy it if it's on the store. It might be. Freestyle. Is that right? No, wait. What am I doing here, man? Freestyle 3-on-3. Come on. No, it's not available yet. I thought they said it was. Maybe it's on the US store. Maybe it is a US only game actually, because basketball is very much an American sport, isn't it? We don't. Yeah. Oh no, wait. Sorry, that's the theme. Okay, we'll have to wait and see if it's out in Europe as well. I'm sure it will be coming out in America. You know, they love basketball. You guys love basketball over there. Well, you know, a lot of you do. That's quite a generalization, isn't it? Anyway, so another potential easy trophy set, Surgeon Simulator. I don't know about this one, but the original Surgeon Simulator on PS4, was it PS4 or PS3, was super hard. The trophies were real difficult, so I'm gonna guess that this is probably the same, unless they've dumbed it down because it's VR. The other game, Ark Survival Evolved. I'm not going to show a trailer for this because it's like 4 minutes long. The trailers are super long, but this is a game that's been in kind of beta and alpha and like, you know, had the game's been sort of semi-released on, I think, Xbox and Steam. I don't think it's had any release on PS4 yet, but it's been kind of being built, improved and adjusted over the last few months and maybe years, or like maybe the last year, I think it is. And it looks really cool. You guys, if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure you have, because it's quite a big title. It's kind of snuck up on us, because that's what tends to happen when a game has sort of semi been out for a while, but then it gets its full release. I think it's out this Tuesday. So that's the 6th of December. It's Sunday today, so 2 days' time you'll be able to play the full release of this. Now, the trophies, the game is basically you sort of wash up on like a shore somewhere, and you're in this world with dinosaurs and everything, and it can be played online or it can be played solo. So the online makes it kind of like an MMO, but it's basically a survival game. So the idea is to stay alive, but you can train and kind of, well, yeah, you can train dinosaurs, but you have to go through multiple steps, and a lot of the trophies relate to taming certain species. So you need to ride on the back of a T-Rex and a Gigantosaurus, and I think there's some other ones like, the ultimate, you need to defeat the ultimate life forms. There's 3 of them. So it's all about progressing, staying alive long enough. It's not permadeath unless you play on hardcore. So there's hardcore servers which do have permadeath, but if you play it on solo, apparently, obviously you have less other players to potentially try and kill you if they're being douchey. I think you can kill other players. But you can also apparently change some sliders to make things easier and quicker for yourself. Now, I don't know the full details of that. There was something on, I think it was actually on this, yeah, if you want to check this out, I'm not going to read it all with you guys, but on the forum, on psnprofiles.com, Rach, is it? Anyway, she or he has written out, you know, something basically talking about the difficulty of what they think the trophies are going to be like based on their time with the game while it was in beta. So if you want to take a look at that in your own time, you know, obviously for the sake of time, we're not going to look too much into this, but it looks really cool. As it looks like a great game. It's probably going to be like maybe a semi-long-winded platinum. Like I said, if you're on a normal server, then it's not permadeath, but you do lose your items, I think, or you keep your XP and you keep your dinosaurs, but you lose the items you were carrying, or you drop them if you die, and then you have to like get back there within 5 minutes or something if you want to be able to pick them up again. Yeah, it just looks really cool. I'm excited about this. I haven't tried it at all. I haven't played any of the betas or anything. And it looks like a lot of fun. Oh. Ultimate Marvel. Oh, crap. Sorry, guys. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This is one of the games that got everyone excited at PSX because it's a kind of remaster on PS4 of the PS3 game, but the PS3 version did have super hard trophies, so we're not going to look at those trophies. They're going to be hard again. I'm guessing it's the same list, or at least very similar. The World of Nublar, we've already discussed. Now, we've got 2 lists. Okay, so that implies 3-on-3 freestyle. That's kind of cool, actually, because if it's an easy platinum, which it looks like it probably will be, then hopefully we're going to be able to pick it up on, you know, on the US store and the UK store or European store, wherever you're from. So that's really good. That's potentially 2 more easy platinums. Now these other ones, like I mentioned before, RWBY Grim Eclipse. This will probably need to be something that we take a look at next week, because like I said at the start of the video, I literally loaded it up and there was all these new games that had been added since I did my research this week. Dead Effect 2, is that like Dead Island meets Mass Effect? What is Dead Effect? A game that is better than Doom. Looks like this new game coming in June looks to be a lot better and more bloody than the new Doom. Well, that's an odd comment because a lot of people love the new Doom. It got really good reviews. Looks like an interesting mix of Doom, Rage, Dead Space, and a touch of Borderlands. You know what? We'll take a look. Let's take a look at the trailer here. Now I'm going to turn it on mute again. Now, obviously, usually when I do the trailers, I download them first and then kind of upload them properly. But I mean, this works just as well. So yeah, let's check this out together. This is the first time I've heard of this game. What was it? Dead Effect 2, isn't it? Okay, so it's already it's already pretty hardcore, pretty gory. What have we got here? Is that you? Are you playing as some weird monster? Oh no, you've got soldiers here, so I'm guessing that's one of you. Dead Effect is not related to Fear Effect, is it? Because no, I don't think so. I was just thinking those soldiers kind of reminded me of the Fear Effect soldiers. Yeah, we can't really tell a lot without the sound, can we? But it does look like it's got something in common with Doom a little bit. A lot of blood and gore. Do you remember that game Soldier of Fortune, where you could shoot any body part off enemies? It was like one of the first games to have that kind of mechanic, and it was like everyone was up in arms about it. Everyone's getting angry about it, and nowadays everything is just gore everywhere. It's a sequel though, PC and Mac and consoles. It's obviously a PC game originally, because I've never heard of well, saying that, it seems to ring a vague bell. But it's obviously a sequel, so I don't know. Maybe we should have a look and see what kind of score. Let's have a look at game rankings, just out of interest, and then we'll draw the episode to a close. What am I doing here? Oh my goodness, my hands are like cold or something, because I'm just all over the place with my typing. Okay, Dead Effect. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this is released on. Dead Effect, iOS, PC, and Mac. Yeah, okay, so I was right about it not having been on console, otherwise I would have probably heard of it. You've got PC, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Oh, Dead Effect 2, that's 7 out of 10. Alright, so it might be okay. It looks a little bit generic, but who knows? We'll take a look at it next week, once we know a bit more about the trophies, and once I've had time to actually, you know, take a look at everything I need to check. Alright guys, so that's it for this week. Let's just summarise, because there's been quite a few potential easy platinums this week. We've got 3-on-3 freestyle, a double stacking list. That, I don't know yet, it could be hard, but it looks like it's very likely going to be easy, maybe a bit grindy, having to complete however many hundreds of games or whatever. Then we've got the World of Nublar, a third list for Nublar. And we found out that Nublar is coming out on the 6th, in 2 days' time, the US version of Nublar. So those of you in Europe who've already done it can earn a second platinum, and those of you in the US who've never been able to do it will be able to earn the platinum for the first time. And now, at some point, we'll all be able to earn it for a third time. But if the second release, if the US release is anything to go by, then this could be a long way off. For some reason, they released the trophies for the US region way before the game was like anywhere near release. So yeah, triple platinum for that. And the reason I've focused on that, for those of you who aren't aware, I know most of you are, but the platinum for Nublar can be earned in like around half an hour, maybe up to an hour. It's super quick and easy, which is awesome. Ark Survival Evolve looks amazing. It looks like a lot of fun. There's 3-on-3 again. Winkings apparently is supposed to be easy. It looks a bit grindy. But yeah, I think that's going to be another easy one. Lara Croft Go is almost guaranteed to be a straightforward, quick, easy platinum. And we have a guide on the way for that. The Minders a City is putting one together. The Dwarves looks like it could be easy, but it does also look like it might be fun as well. Red Faction's quite difficult. And then we also just ran through some old games, didn't we? Just as a recap. Obviously, you guys can come back on this list and remind yourselves. We've got a guide on the way for Clockwork Tales of Glass and Ink. We've got a text guide up for Silence already. And we've got a video guide up for Deponia with a text guide on the way. We've got Bridge Constructor, which has already got a guide on the xboxachievements.com site. That's coming out next Tuesday, following Tuesday after the 6th, so that's the 13th. And that's it. Icy's got a guide up as well. Whew, so there we go, guys. Very, very briefly, we are going to take a look at my profile. Now, some games I played this week, one of them I haven't platted yet, but I did all the multiplayer stuff, or I did all the trophies that you could do quickly, all the fiddly stuff of Screen Cheat, which was a lot of fun actually. Me and a friend blasted through the trophies, and the great thing about it is that if you do it split screen, then however many accounts you've got signed in, all those accounts can get trophies while you're playing together. So I did it for myself and my friend. We just did it at the same time. We blasted through all the trophies. And the majority, everything I've done so far, is pretty much super, super easy. The only thing I haven't done is some farming based trophies, leveling up and stuff, and also some single player challenges. But that's I've heard the challenges can be a bit tricky, but there's guides to follow. I don't think they'll be too bad. So that's one to check out. Screen Cheat, we've spoken about it before, but that's definitely one that I think is going to be a fairly straightforward plat. There have been some other games that I've played on other accounts. I'm trying to think now. Obviously, I've been playing Final Fantasy. I can't really remember, to be honest. But Final Fantasy 15. Great game so far. I've really enjoyed it. I went back and did some games that we've already spoken about. You know about these. Virginia. I'd never done it on my account, so I did it in Nero. I sat through Albedo twice in 2 days. The second time I got one of the fastest times. I wasn't really even rushing it, but that's how quick Albedo can be done. Around about an hour, if you sort of know what you're doing, which is why the first one, I was kind of watching TV at the same time. I was so bored. I was just wanted it to be over because it's such a horrible game. It's just awful. But that's why it took a while the first time, because I was kind of distracted. I had the TV on as a kind of background noise, but then I ended up looking at it because I was so sick of the game, and I'd sit there watching TV for too long and just took ages to get through the game. But then once you've done it once, if you do buy both versions of the game on the UK store and the European store, one of the European stores, and the American store, then you will be able to earn the second platinum a lot quicker. And that's the case with a lot of stacking sets, trophy sets. So I do recommend, if you are doing a stacking trophy set and you're planning on doing both versions, if it's an awful game, you might think, I'll give it a break and come back to it another time and do the other one. But I recommend just powering through and doing the second one, because you will get it done so much quicker because it will be fresh in your memory. I also did Miss Pac-Man. Only took 3 hours, but it felt like a lot longer. Actually, although it's kind of easy, I found a lot of it quite frustrating because you end up making a save and you upload that save to the PlayStation Cloud, the PS Plus Cloud, and you go back into the game and you try and do the trophy. You might die straight away, and you've got to go through the whole process of downloading it from the cloud again and reloading the save back, the game back up, and everything. It just takes ages, and it's so frustrating. But it's it feels like it takes longer than it did. So it's still, I struggled a bit with it, to be honest. I thought it was going to be super straightforward, and I found it a bit tricky. I've never really played Pac-Man, and it still only took 3 hours, less than 3 hours. So I do recommend Miss Pac-Man, but I just found it frustrating. But there we go, guys. I think that's everything we wanted to talk about. There's probably loads of stuff. every week I stop the recording and I think, oh crap, I meant to talk about this or that or whatever. And I'm probably going to do the same today. But it's been long enough. I've been rambling on for crumbs. It's maybe an hour and a half now. Damn, man. All right, hopefully you guys haven't got so sick of me by this point. But thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out my videos all through the week. I've got a few lined up, and I'll catch you soon. All right, guys, thanks for your patience with me. Have a good weekend or week, whatever time of day it is, and I'll catch you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've already said that, I think. See you guys. Bye.